Hi, I'm Laura Coyle, and in this video, we're going to look at an Adobe Illustrator feature that you might not know about. So if you're someone like me who likes to save color groups of your swatches here, so really just to do this, all you need to do is select a bunch of swatches, and there's a folder icon down here at the bottom that you can click on to group them, or you can select art and click on this folder to create a color group from the colors in the artwork that you had selected. Once you have a bunch of color groups here, there's another tool that lets you work with them, edit them, and evaluate them. So I'm going to select one of the color groups just by clicking on its folder and then go down to the bottom of the swatches panel and click on Edit Swatch Group. When I open this up, I get a color wheel here, and then also I can see all of the color groups that are in my swatches panel here on the right-hand side. And what I like about this is it gives me, if you're into color theory, it's kind of fun to see how your color palettes look when they're mapped out on a color wheel. So this first one that we're looking at here, is almost like a split complementary. We've got that kind of blue here on one end, and normally the complement would be directly opposite here in the orange area. But we've split that and it's kind of red and gold like this. Here, I don't even know how you would explain this in color theory terms, but when I see a color palette like this, I know that it definitely has a distinct personality, very different from maybe a color group like this birthday color group that's kind of spread out all over the wheel, almost like having every color of the rainbow, which is fun for some things, but it doesn't really have sort of a more limited personality that a lot of these color groups have. Speaking of that, we have this one here that is also like a split complementary. Then we have these ones that are more monochromatic that I have saved. And I use these a lot just to have some different options for monochromatic palettes. One of the things I've always liked about this palette here is that it is a little bit like that sort of opposite yellow, purple, almost complementary, but you can see that there are a lot of different values, so darker and lighter in there, which makes that a really easy to work with color palette. Same here. This one's very complementary, but with a lot of different values. This is another one that I love this color palette, but I don't have any idea what you would call this in color theory terms. Maybe there's a word for it. I don't know. I'm not that deep into color theory. I learned about it when I was in art school, and it's certainly helpful, but even this very visual way of looking at your palettes is helpful too. And we've got some there, very similar kind of personalities going on. Here's one that's almost like a triangle. So I think that's a triad. And when you have these color palettes here, you can edit them. So we've just been kind of looking for the story behind them by clicking on the different folders here, the different color groups here. But I can come in here and unlink these colors. So if I do that, you see dotted lines, which allows me to move one of the colors around like that, or I can double click on it. And then I can actually pick the color that I want there. So I kind of dull down that yellow, or I can have one of these colors selected here. Maybe I'll do the blue, and I can darken it and saturate it using the usual color sliders here. So this is a very versatile and a pretty fun tool. There's a lot more going on here, but let's just do one more thing. We'll look at how to add a color or subtract a color from this color group. You can use these two buttons right here to remove a color or to add a color. Let's do this. I'm going to click on the button just to turn it on. And then when you hover over the wheel, you'll see this little cursor, click, and that adds a color to the color group. And of course, you can do whatever edits you need to do to dial in that color just the way you want it. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this color group. As we can see right down here, we're working in this color group right now that has italics in the name. So it's kind of like pending right now. And if I click OK, it's going to say, do you want to save the changes to Swatch Group 6 before closing? And yes, I do. So what that's going to do is just add that extra purple color here, keep the name of the Swatch Group, and we've just sort of updated that Swatch Group. But if I want to change the name, so what is it now? Swatch Group 6, and I want it to have a more descriptive name, I can double click on this folder icon here. And then it's now sitting at the top of the list here. I'm going to twirl down and click right here on its name. And then I can give it a name, Laura's New Color, and then click OK. And now I've updated the name for that color group as well. So I hope that inspires you to use the Edit Colors feature in Illustrator to work on your color groups and fine-tuning them and evaluating them using a little bit of color theory. My name is Laura Coyle. I teach Illustrator here on YouTube and in my learning community. I also send out tips to my newsletter subscribers, and you can get the link to sign up for my newsletter below the video. And thank you so much for watching.